Good day, everyone. Today on the bench I'm going to tie you up my new dub emerger. Here's a little fly that Lance Filamic from the Elk Valley over here. Fernie, he gave me a fly like this to use a number of years ago. It worked really well on fussy trout, and he was sure right. I've been using it for years. It's been a great fly. I've changed the materials just a little bit in the methods of tying it. Lance used to do a touch dub technique for the body. I did that for years as well. It's a great method. I think Gary LaFontaine started that or whatever years ago. It's a great method. You get nice buggy appearance, and I've just found some other materials that I can take a little shortcuts. So we're going to show you how I tie it. Materials we need to tie the fly. I'm going to use a continuous curve, number 14. This is a scud hook, but it's a nice light wire. Use whatever brand you like to use for hooks. A continuous curve. The post, I'm going to use a Rainey's float foam. They're foam parachute posts. They're really user friendly. And the body, what I'm going to do here instead of touch dub, Benici come out with this a number of years ago. It's a new dub, and it's like a little dubbing brush with fine dubbing on there, so it's really nice. A little bit pricey, but you'll get a lot of flies out of one pack, and fly works super well. The hackle, I'm going to use some dry fly saddles here. Okay, and the thorax, I'm going to use some Antron. We'll just do it with that. And to finish the fly off, I'm going to use Solares. It's a little different method for doing your parachutes. So we'll get a hook in the vise, and we'll tie one of these up. Mergers are just a great hatch to fish, or it looks like the fish are up there eating dry flies and they're actually taking emergers. You'll see the fish are breaking the water, but it's a very vulnerable stage of the insect, so you want to make sure you got a good supply of emergers for different hatches, sizes, colors. So I'm going to start here at the back. Thread, I'm going to dress the hook shank as always to keep everything a little more secure. It's always worthwhile doing that. Get some of your new dub material here, and I'm just going to cut that about halfway so it's a little easier to manage. Right at the end here, we'll just can't really pull it apart. It's very strong. It's a very good product. That's been out a long time. Great idea you come up with. I just catch it in right by the tip. I don't want too much bulk down there at all. And you can build this thorax up here a little, or get a little bit of a taper on here. It's a little hard with a 8/0 thread. It'll take you all day to do it, but I'm going to wind a little bit on here to get a little bit of a taper. You could do your underbodies before and then finish them up, but I like to use thin thread when I'm doing smaller flies. Okay, there's a little bit of a taper there. Okay, now I'm just going to come forward with my new dub, and it is super easy. Kind of dubbing chenille, if you will. Great idea. Gives it a very nice body, nice and buggy. That looks quite natural down there. All right, now we'll bring in our post, or parachute post. I'm going to tie it right back where I ended up with that new dub. Right about there. You can clip it really short. That foam is really easy to work with. Tie it down good there. I'm going to go in front, stand it upright, and I'll just go around a little bit. You don't have to do it too much when the foam post has got they're fairly sturdy anyway. Then we'll bring in our grizzly hackle and just pull it down. Make sure it's the size you want. Get down here, it's a little too big. I want to cut that off. Boat's there. Get her stem. And I'm just going to tie that on top the shank right there. cut the tip of that off, the butt end of that hackle. Then I'll do my thorax. I'm just going to use a little darker shade of gray. Use Antron on here so it floats. Rabbit will actually sink on you. It just gets a little wet, so you want to use buoyant materials. Keep it thin. I'm just going to thin that down a little bit. Then I can do my complete thorax with this. Now when I get to the top, I'm done. So it gives a nice thorax on the bottom there, different coloration. You could actually even use some brighter colors in there, just a little more of an attractor if you want to do that. That's not a bad idea either. I'm just leaving this quite natural because sometimes you can overdo it with flashes and that type of thing. So tying parachute flies can be a bit of a pain, figuring out how to get your whip finishes on and finish it really nice. I've come with a little shortcut here that I use. Solarez is a great product. We use it all the time in our chironomids and so forth. I'm just going to coat put some on the base of the thread, or the post, I'm sorry, right on top. And it's wet and it will not dry until we hit it with a UV light, of course, okay? So I don't need my whip finish tool. I don't need anything else. All I got to do here is I'm going to wind my hackle on, like where I feel it would be sufficient amount. Grab my UV light, give it a little shot on there and set up that UV, and we're good to go. All we have to do now, I'm just going to trim that hackle. I just want to make sure I got my little scissors in there. I'm just going to saw my thread off with that, and that is done. And trim our top for post, whatever length you want. You can get those posts in different colors too. Rainy's got all kinds of colors, so that's a nice little fly right there, little emerger, and it's pretty simple to tie that way, I feel. And it's definitely a stage of the insect you want to be fishing when you're on over some tough fish, and we fish that along the seams, and had some very, very good success for many years with it. So we'd like to thank you for watching today, and hope to see you on the water someday and catch you back here for another video on sports fishing on the fly.
To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one showing, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.